Okay, welcome to the fifth annual Christmas of the Angels. Charlie created this for us in the first year of COVID, and it's been continuing ever since then. So Charlie shares not only the insights that we've learned from Dora, and we'll get to hear from Dora, but also what's happening astrologically. So without further ado, go ahead, Charlie. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, everybody can see that. Let's see if I click this. Ah,
The winter solstice is one of the most powerful points of the year when the energy pattern of the earth pauses, shifts, and moves in the opposite direction. For 3 days around the solstice point, we may physically, mentally, and spiritually experience this standstill and shift of direction. At the solstice, the Earth's axis reaches its maximum tilt away from the sun. The solstice in the northern hemisphere is the shortest and darkest day of the year. It marks the symbolic death and rebirth of the sun. The gradual waning of daylight hours is reversed and begins to grow again.
spiritually, the solstices and equinoxes are inner cosmic festivals of the cyclical energy patterns of the whole earth and the living inner forces of nature. Astrology is a study of the forces alive in the inner atmosphere on various states of consciousness. It affects individuals, groups, countries, and the world in relationship to the energy blueprint that a particular entity is involved in its own energy cycle. So I'm just quickly looking at some of the overall energy patterns of the upcoming year and how it may generally affect us. Very powerfully, and at times challenging astrological forces have been at play this whole past year in the atmosphere. Just recently, the planet Pluto and what it represents and activates was heavily involved with world issues, politics, and such. It has finally moved into Aquarius for the next cycle of 20 or so years. Pluto has hovered on the cusp between Capricorn and Aquarius, going forward in retrograde these last 2 years. In November 2024, Pluto moved totally into Aquarius until the year 2043. Pluto has been symbolically connected with the shadow areas of the human psyche and also drastic world changes we have recently faced, such as COVID, world conflicts and aggressions, and also personal and worldly transformations due to human aggressions and difficult weather patterns. Aquarius deals with group consciousness and thought forms. It deals with electronic forces and such, all of which will be playing a deeper role in our everyday life as we move into the next cycle. And 2025 has new and different astrological aspects and energy cycles also in store for us. Many of the slower moving planets and what they represent energetically, such as Neptune, Uranus, and even Saturn, are all moving into different astrological signs this coming year. So even though there have been vast changes the last few years, more are also just around the corner. So learning and practicing centering within our being, as taught by the TT founders, Dora and Dee, will certainly help us to navigate through the next few years and any turbulent periods that may erupt. Group consciousness is being highlighted in 2025, especially group consciousness of a positive nature, like our Friday group meditations and such, and other ways we gather together with like-minded people enhances the atmosphere with positive thought forms, affecting all who attend and hopefully radiating out to people and to the world, which sometimes is desperately in need of it. In numerology, the year 2025 is a 9-year universally. A 9-year is said to be one of finishing and getting rewards for things we have been working on from the past few years. 9 is also an energy of learning to let go of things, because this finishes up the 9-year cycle, which have finished their usefulness in our life. A difficult process at times for many to let go, but is what we must learn.
Let's hope these new changes will be beneficial and uplifting overall for the whole earth and for all of humanity. Charlie will now lead us in a group meditation.
Okay, everybody, let's relax in our chairs, wherever we are, feeling ourselves being grounded to the earth. Taking a deep breath. And relaxing all the muscles in our physical body. Gently feeling our connection with everybody else who is present at the present moment. Taking another deep breath. Becoming aware of our etheric field. Relaxing it and being centered here and integrated with our physical. Taking another deep breath and gently relaxing our emotional field of consciousness, feeling that peace. Bringing our focus of attention as we center our mind in the present moment. Let us feel our connection to our inner self, that place of unity, that place of healing, that place of compassion, deep within our being. On that place of peace, let us feel our connection to a universal healing force, a force of healing, of compassion, and of love. From that place of healing within, let us radiate out this healing and compassion out to anyone we know who may be in need. And let us radiate it out to send peace and healing to any situation in the world which so desperately needs it. See if we can feel the solstice energy on the inner levels of consciousness. And the light of the sun connecting to the earth. Bringing light and healing to the whole earth. To all of humanity. And to all sentient beings. See if we can feel our connection to these angelic forces, alive within the inner fields of consciousness. As we bring our focus back to our heart center. Feeling our connection with all of nature. And sending out light and healing to everybody here present. Thank you. And you can see the exact solstice time is 4:21 Eastern time in the morning, tomorrow on Saturday. The following is paraphrased from The Christmas of the Angels, a pamphlet published with the creative assistance of Dora Kuntz, talking about the winter solstice time of the year. The whole holiday season in December each year is a joyful time of peace and goodwill towards all people. To those sensitive, it brings forth the inherent unity and the essential inseparability of all of humanity. There's also a time to feel our connectedness with the superphysical beings, which also play their part in the inner worlds.
These beings of angels and archangels are living presences who partake in the inner evolution of the earth itself and with humanity. Indeed, the whole angelic outlook upon life differs very considerably from the human. We generally look upon the universe from the standpoint of form, first thinking of the form and only then of the life that energizes and ensouls it. That is the typically human point of view.
And even when the inner vision is opened and the sight of the invisible worlds is gained, the human observer still looks first at the form side of those worlds, and only partially at the consciousness playing through the different forms.
The angel's point of view is exactly the opposite. They look first at the life or consciousness, and then only as a secondary consideration at the form in which that life is enshrined. That is the typically angelic point of view.
If we look at a human being, for example, we would look first at the physical body. And then if we can see, we look at the emotional, mental, and causal bodies, seeing their different colors and striations, and judging their character and inner possibilities according to the delicacy and arrangement.
But the angel would regard the person from the standpoint of consciousness, would look to see how far spiritual life has manifested in the individual, how many forces were able to play through that person. And only then would the angel look at the form of the higher bodies.
This is the fundamental difference in outlook belonging to the two separate lines of evolution. This season and the winter solstice are turning points of all the forces of nature on every plane and at every level of consciousness. A time in which a direct and mighty outpouring of creative power and spiritual energy from the highest takes place. Now let's listen. Hold on. Now let's listen to Dora Kuntz talk about this time of the year.
I believe that there are these angelic beings and that they are part of our world picture. I've emphasized that the idea of Christmas, even if it's not called Christmas, it's really the winter solstice coming in, is really a world idea. And what I feel very strongly, particularly at this time, is that we do not realize how closely we are bound together in the world. We share so many ideas, and more or less what I feel strongly today is we don't realize that we are bound together by our feelings. That our feelings do not stop by the body, that what we feel reaches other people. And that we have, therefore, a much more profound effect upon one another and the world because our feelings reach around the world. And therefore, happiness, unhappiness, I personally feel that today there is great anxiety in the world. I really think there is a sort of pervasive anxiety in the world. And I think it is shared again. There are angelic forces and there are angels. I think they have a part to play in the world around us. They have their own roles, these beings, to play. They do not only exist to help humanity, as we sometimes think. I think they are part of the world of nature. They are also playing their part, if we can call it, in a divine plan, a divine world. I'm not talking about one faith only. I'm talking about it as a world picture. I think that at Christmas time, that these beings, which we call angels, do have a special role to play. These beings, and I'm going to talk about their work and something of what they do. At this time of year, I think all over the world, because with the winter solstice and because so many religions have this faith, pour a special energy and a special blessing upon this world. It is an energy which all of us can appreciate if we understand how to connect with it and how we can use it for helping others. It isn't for us, it is for helping the world. That angels are part of a world picture. They are, of course, living not in the physical world as we see it. Wherever we go, there are really these angelic presences all through the land. And I always think of them as that. Their outlook on life is not like ours. You must think, first of all, is in much bigger terms than ours. We think in terms of our small communities. We think of a separated world. They are thinking of large blocks, this sense of unity. I think people today and in the next 2 weeks, they will be praying in many churches, in many religious places, and they will have this sense of devotion, and I think very much often this sense of sharing. I mean, don't you think this very often goes with the Christmas spirit today? It doesn't last the whole year necessarily, but for this place it does, doesn't it? I think what the angels have, beside this sense of strength and balance, I think this is why symbol of light is involved so differently from us. They have a joyousness. They have compassion. We feel compassion. If we could really feel compassion, if you are helping people without constantly judging what is right or wrong, it is the orderly process. If you develop anger because something is very wrong when you are helping somebody, your part of you becomes split again into anger instead of spending your energy completely in sending love and compassion. It's a very difficult thing to practice, isn't it? And this is the month, therefore, besides the sharing and the giving, we could all help. If we could say, even for these 2 or 3 weeks, I get irritated, I get angry, I get depressed, not only because it is in me, but I'm reacting to the atmosphere of thousands of people around me. Because the outside influences at this time of the year and at this particular year are very powerful also. I think if we learn that, we each are giving something of ourselves. And Christmas isn't the giving of presents, it's a giving of ourselves in our thoughts, in our prayers, and this sort of thing. I think this, and that requires discipline. This is the greater gift than giving presents, I really feel, to keep this going and thinking about it for the next 2 or 3 years. 3 years wouldn't be nice. I meant to say 2 or 3 weeks. It'd be lovely if I could say 2 or 3 years. We can call upon their energies through prayer, through thinking, if we are imbued with the desire to help others. I think they also are in the world of ideas. I think the world today is in a great crisis of many changes. I think if all of us could think of these beings, and I like the word associated with them. In Sanskrit, they call devas, the beings of light. And I think we all, in this way, could, in our daily lives, think at Christmas, this tremendous outpouring of love towards humanity from these beings, if we realize it. Shall we have a meditation now? So what I would like us to see is to relax and just to feel as close as a group as we can. Now let us think of a tree, a waterfall, whatever it is, which to us is a symbol of peace. Let's visualize that. Now let us be just absolutely still and quiet within us for one moment. Now let us think of the angels for one moment and think of humanity and send out peace with the blessing of the angels. These thoughts of peace. Thank you.
Holy angels, holy angels, all around you. Hush now, sleep, child, sing the holy angels. We are holding you. You can rest. Morning will come, child. The dawn will break through the darkness. We are holding you through the light of the newborn day. Lulu, 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 you are held by holy angels, holy angels, all around you. We are holding you. You can rest. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Shanti,
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Charlie and everyone. Happy
Thank you. Just lovely.
Yeah.